Greetings everybody and welcome back. Today's episode I'm showing a 4500C that I converted to direct drive. Now this reel is something that I built from parts. My initial draw to it was the very first of the Ultracast reels. They had this style of brake plate, which is much more, it's not as refined as the newer stuff, but at the same time it's more consistent as far as how the clutch operates. And the first Ultracast models made in 89 and 90, they used a 4.7 gear set, which was pretty common in all the high speed models that Avail released prior to then. So when the 5500, 6500Cs came out, those were the ones with the 4.7 gears, whereas your regular 5000, 6000, those had 3.6 to 1. And with that, I wanted to build my own direct drive. And the way this started out was, I didn't have any intent on doing it, but a friend of mine, who's also a customer, he grabbed this 5500D from a garage sale, really cheap. He asked me, he says, "Hey, you have any interest in this?" And I said, "Yeah, I've actually been wanting to do that, but trying to find the guts that I needed is a little bit of a challenge because most of those parts are out of production and have been for some time." Well, he got that thing cheap and he said, "Here, it's all yours, do what you want with it." So I ended up taking this 5500D, DA rather, and taking the drive shaft, the drive gear, and all those components off. And from this brake plate, I had the 4.7 pinion. And with that pinion, it meshes perfectly with the 4.7 drive gear from this 5500 DA. And what I'm going to show you is how the direct drive works. So when you're reeling, you're retrieving line, just standard, or when a fish is running, the handle is going to spin backwards, but you can use the drag knob to adjust the tension. You can make it more difficult for the fish to pull line. The idea behind the D reels initially was Abu wanted to make a product specifically for bass fishermen in the United States, the guys that go and fish slop like lily pads and winching the fish out of cover. Well, most of their offerings at the time, from the 1500 to the 6500 size, most of them weren't capable for more than like 5 to 8 pounds of drag, just because having just 2 drag discs in there, that really minimizes the surface area and thus the usable drag. Whereas when we got into the later 80s, you started to see multi-disc drags coming, and that pretty much made the D reels irrelevant, because now you can actually fully lock down a drag on these newer reels and pull fish out of cover. While the D reels originally, when you have your hand on the handle, a fish isn't going to be able to pull any line on you. It's going to sit there and you can winch it right out of cover, and if you need to play it out, you just take your thumb off the handle and backwards it goes, let the fish run and take some line. And this kind of functions the same way, where like locking down the drag, your hand's right here, that fish can't run on you. But I decided to make my own, an Ultracast 4500 that's direct drive. I'm going to delve into here a little bit so I can show you guys how it works. This reel has already been serviced, so I'm not going to go do any overhaul videos on this one at this point in time. Later on I will, but right now it isn't necessary because I just built this the other day. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the handle and the drag knob, and I'll pull the side plate off so you can see just exactly how this functions. This is a Hanedacraft 70mm aluminum handle. This reel, as it is, it only weighs, and I put it on the scale, is about 8.3 ounces, which is, it's a feather for a round reel like this. It's even lighter than what a factory 2500C is. 2500C, I want to say, in factory trim is about an ounce heavier than what this is. But this does have Avail hardware in it. It's got the Avail skeleton cogwheel, 2 bearings. It's got an Avail line guide, Avail 2 bearing level lined. Has an Avail 4550 spool. With this one, I'm running a Seagar Lure Edition 1.5 diameter. This stuff right here, I have about 120 meters on it, which fills this spool to capacity. And this line's rated to break at about 25 pounds. So it's plenty for what I'm doing. I'm using it river smallmouth and steelhead, migratory browns, that sort of stuff. And I've had people ask me, they would say, hey, why do you want to build a direct drive? And honestly, it's not because it's better. It's actually worse, but it's different. And to me, fishing is all about the fun and not necessarily about the right or most efficient tool for the job. But I'm going to go in here, pull this cover off, and the way this works, you have 2 of the handle bushings that are stacked up, and here's the 4.7 Ultracast pinion right here. I can go ahead and pull these shim, and then the washer that applies pressure to the drag stack. The way this works is the drive gear is keyed to the drive shaft. So when you're turning the handle, the click wheel is not keyed to the drive shaft. So when you have the drag light, the shaft is going to spin freely in there, and that's what makes the handle go backwards. And under that you have a single 3902 drag washer, which is a pretty universal drag washer for the time for Avail products. The 2500C uses it as the base washer under the drive gear, and many other models do. Like I think the 5500s did, 6500s, anything of that architecture. And we have the anti-reverse pawl. And then I'll go ahead and pull this. And there's a little washer that's right here on the top. I forgot to put a little bit of grease on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my NLGI1, which is, it's not as thick as like the Cal's stuff and all that, but it doesn't need to be. Because what we're looking for is a smooth startup, and this is going to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that on there a little bit. You don't need much, just enough to make it happy. I can set that down on there. And I'm going to take the ratchet gear and I'll put that back down. See if I could do this. Yep, got it without removing the spring, because sometimes the spring that's right here on the arm, it can kind of block that AR pawl from coming off. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grease up this drag washer a little bit, because we don't want it to stick or skip or anything. Just rub a little bit of that grease on there, make it nice and shiny. We'll drop it back on the stack. I can go ahead and set my drive gear back on it. And the curved washer is going to go with the curve facing down. And this washer right here, whoever owned that 5500 DA last didn't have the correct one, but this one is the correct dimension. It's an M8 by 12 by 0.2 millimeter thick. And that's going to take up the slack in the drag stack on there. I can go ahead and reassemble this. Thing that made me want to do this is I've been into these Langley reels, which are a lot of fun. This is actually a Zebco branded one, and this one I polished all the bushings in it, and I'm going to use this for small stream trout. Like The way this thing's set up, it'll cast 1/8 of an ounce, maybe even less, just the way it's set up. I'm going to put some 6-pound braided nylon on it and run that to probably a 2 to 4 pound leader and take to the trout streams with it. Even put a shorter handle, 35 millimeter. That's for another video. Figured I'd get that out of the way. But the way this thing's set up, I have a pair of black brake blocks on it, and with such a lightweight spool, there's not going to be much thumb required on this when I cast it. It's just going to go ahead and I can run no spool tension on it, and it's not going to backlash unless I don't thumb the spool before my lure hits the water. So I'm just going ahead and refastening this with the bridge screws. A lot of people call this a Franken reel, which I agree with that, but I feel like these ambassadors are Legos for fishermen. They made so many of them over, God, how many years was it? It was like 70 years. These things were in production in various configurations, and that's what I wanted to do, is just roll my own, something you can't go out and buy. And my main species for this is going to be river smallmouth. And with river smallmouth, this will fit the purpose, being able to throw the lighter lures, and for a more finesse presentation like you use for smallmouth versus largemouth. I'll be able, this reel will probably throw from maybe about 1/8 on up, which is, you figure if you're throwing jigs or that kind of thing, a jig plus a soft plastic is definitely going to weigh more than that, especially when you're talking like a easy shiner, fat swing impact, or power bait minnow, or something like that. Go ahead and button this one back up. Yeah, I've had a few people ask me, they're like, why do you want to build a direct drive? Well, because I can. And if I have access to the parts to roll my own, you best believe I'm rolling that thing right up. I'm going to light it and take some fire to it. But go ahead and get this handle back on here. Put the handle plate on. If you're wondering why I have fishing line on here, it's because I use that to pull the press fit cog wheels like they use. It's goes pretty quick and easy. You've never broken anything doing it, so if it works, have at it. Actually, I have a red handle coming for this one. I thought about reusing the original, but the knobs are pretty beat up, and for what it would cost for me to get that redone or put new ones on, I have this. And this thing is going to be a very competent caster. I always look for 4 to 6 passes of the line guide. That's how I know this thing is going to cast relatively backlash free, providing I'm not casting into strong wind or anything or that kind of thing. But oh yeah, after I added the grease onto it, that washer at 3902, it's nice and smooth. It was skipping before. I should punch out my own 3902 and put it on there just to smooth it out a little more, because the carbon drags, they start up easier in these old, I don't know if they're Bakelite or Teflon or what, but they don't wear very easily, and they have, after many years of service, they can start getting sticky spots in them, which this one does have a little bit, but it's not enough to where I need to worry about it. But at some point I'll fix it with carbon drag and it'll be good to go. Well, I just wanted to give you guys a lowdown on a 4500C Direct. My initial inspiration for this was the Japan only 5500C Direct and 6500C Direct, which were Ultracast direct drive models that were sold only in Japan in between 91 and 93, I believe. Kind of stumbled across an eBay listing for one, and I got curious and went looking for the schematic, and I found it, and I'm like, oh man, that's a direct drive reel. That's something I like. And I figured with the parts we have available here, or donor reels in this case, I was able to get exactly what I wanted, and it'll match up great with, I got a Major Craft Days 6'5", one, it's rated for 3/16 to 1/2, which is going to be right in the wheelhouse for this. And should be pretty damn good for river smallmouth. Looking forward to it. It's warm enough out here where I can wet wade the Huron River that flows not too far from my house, and take to the gravel out there and see what I can do. Well, thank you very much for watching and having a look inside of this 4500 CD. Thanks.